What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Thanks for coming over to the DFS 5-pack. It is the 12th of October. We are here to break down the Monday night showdown on DraftKings. Big up to DraftKings for actually getting in their live scoring this week. Apparently, that's a problem with some other websites out there. Ha ha. If you can click the thumbs up button, it's always appreciated. But let's run through this free info.
Let's get it, man. Excited to break this down.
Who do you think wins this game?
Saints.
Yeah, definitely agree. They're a touchdown favorite for a reason. Although we have seen the Chargers play well when they're the underdog team before.
You talk about that a lot. The Chargers, look at the Chiefs from a couple of weeks ago. They seem to play to the level of their competition often.
Right. We've seen them lose some very winnable games. Like, you remember when they just smacked the Packers in the face last year?
I do. I'll say this. It's easy to say the Saints here, after, they got off the schneid last week and looked good against Detroit. Chargers haven't, won in a couple weeks. However, the Saints weren't looking so good coming into that Detroit game, and they were down 14-0 early in that Detroit game. So I think there is a little bit more question mark to this game than might first meet the eye.
Yeah, I would bet the Saints. I don't even like the idea of betting the Chargers to cover. But at the end of the night, if the Chargers win this game, I wouldn't be floored. This isn't a situation where, the Bills rolled up on Minnesota 2 or 3 years ago. You just couldn't believe the outcome of the game.
Oh, man, I remember that game. Yeah, I'm with you there, 100%.
All right, guys. So go play in the overlay matchup shop. We brought it up already on the baseball one. This thing is awesome. It is fun to do parlays. I told you I tried an 11 parlay this week and went 10-1 on it. Just missed. I didn't put enough money on it. It wasn't going to be life-altering money, but it would have paid out 600 to 1 approximately. You can do these 1v1 matchups. I'll do a breakdown on one a little bit later on YouTube. It is fun. It is going to grow in momentum. It is an easy way to get involved in a lot of games without having to take the work of building a DK or a FanDuel lineup.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing too, right? Set it and forget it. We talk about that all the time. This is true. Set it and forget it. You don't even need to set a lineup here. You're just picking the best plays, and it gives you really nice skin in the game.
All right, this weekend, I liked Bridgewater over Matt Ryan straight up. I thought that was an easy call right there alone. But the fact you got 3 points, stick your money in there where you think you got it best. The other one was Robbie Anderson over Tyler Boyd. If you were watching it throughout the week, you were able to get it at even early in the week. And by Sunday, it was you had to spot Tyler Boyd 4 points. And I still liked it for Anderson, but obviously I wasn't going to go as big on it. So I know from your sports betting years, you love watching the Lions move and stuff like that. There's just a lot of ways to get involved. And if you sign up and you haven't played yet for new members, send me a screenshot of your first deposit. We'll give you a free 5-pack membership.
No doubt. Let's get it.
All right, guys, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thumbs up is appreciated. As per usual on these Showdown videos, let's start with the Keep It Simple Stupid play, the Occam's Razor play, the play of the day, the chalk play, the one that makes way too much sense, and that is Alvin Kamara. 12K, 18K, 50K. I don't care what he costs. You want him in your lineup right now. He wasn't great last week as overwhelming chalk, but it's not like he was horrendous. He got his touchdowns vultured by Latavius Murray, which is always a possibility, but he's a huge focal point of their team in the red zone. I assume him to be 1, the most popular player on the slate, 2, the most popular play at the captain spot right here. And with no Mike Thomas, he is just the best player in this game by a decent margin.
He might be the most popular player on any Showdown slate all year. He's crept up there the past couple times he's been there, and he's done people really well. I think the only reason you don't roster him here is because of ownership. Literally the only reason.
Honestly, and again, I will never, and especially on a day coming off of a really gruesome injury to Dak Prescott, I'll never, and we're not rooting for an injury, but we've seen a lot of them this year. I honestly feel like if you don't roster Kamara, you are literally thinking maybe he gets hurt this game.
At this point, that's not crazy.
Right? Again, good luck getting better, Dak. That was a brutal one to watch yesterday. We would never call for that or hope for that, but I feel like if you don't roster Kamara, that's honestly the thing you have in your back pocket.
And I would say this. It's not crazy to think that he's going to get injured. It's crazy to play like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that one. I agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, next up. Another guy from the New Orleans Saints who should garner some love from the public tonight should be Emmanuel Sanders. So this guy was looking like a flat-out bust with the Saints the first couple of weeks, but it's a product of a new system, a new year. There was no preseason. We've really watched the chemistry develop with Drew Brees over the last 6 quarters-ish. You kind of started to notice it about halfway through the Packers game. He's extremely affordable. By now, we all know Mike Thomas is not playing tonight. Get Emmanuel Sanders in your lineups. He's very affordable for what he offers.
Yeah, he is. As much as we hate to say it, / love to say it, he is the cock in the machine here. Starting to develop that rapport with Drew Brees. He's good. We've seen him produce for many, many a year at this point for multiple different teams. In a good spot now, especially with Michael Thomas out. Michael Thomas being out could actually be a blessing in disguise for the Saints, going into the playoffs and going, towards the with Brees developing some chemistry with some of these other guys.
All right, next up, Hunter Henry of the Los Angeles Chargers. So I want to be very clear about how I feel about Hunter Henry today. I like him. I think this is a really good spot for him, but because his price tag is inflated, I don't think he should be this expensive. So I think that's going to keep his ownership down. Last night I wrote up for the Showdown and for the primetime slate that I looked at Adam Thielen as a must, and then when I went and dissected where I was at the primetime and the Showdown lineups, I couldn't believe his ownership was as low as it was. And that's kind of how I feel about Hunter Henry tonight. I think his ownership is going to be kind of in that Thielen mold, but he's in a really, really good spot. But the price tag is going to keep people off of him. So I do prefer him in GPPs because of the lower ownership and the fact that he's too priced. I think this guy is in a good spot for a breakout game. You cannot run the ball effectively on the New Orleans Saints. They are very good at stopping the run, which means that the Chargers are going to have to pass. They've also been very weak against the tight end this year, so I think this is a good spot for a breakout game for Hunter Henry this year, who's kind of due for a touchdown or two. So while he will not make my optimal lineup, if I was a multi-lineup setter, he would be a guy that I'd almost look as I'd want like 50% exposure to, if not more.
Yeah, we always talk about this in baseball, especially expanding up to be contrarian, using a little bit more salary than guys call for because they won't be owned. Great example right here. Especially, the Chargers will probably be trailing in this game. Even if they're not trailing, they're going to be moving the ball through the air, especially with no Austin Eckler. Henry's, right behind Keenan Allen as the top target on the Chargers. I agree with you. He's due for a big game, finding the zone. If you remember, he missed a touchdown in his first two games by like inches. So I do think that his price keeps people off him, and I like the call a lot.
All right, let's move on down the list. Speaking of Keenan Allen, I know you are a monster Keenan Allen fan. The best thing that I can say about Keenan Allen is even if Mike Williams comes back tonight, his target share is just off the charts.
It's crazy. And when we saw with Tyrod Taylor, wasn't really a quarterback that fit Keenan Allen's style. Well, Herbert's the opposite. Really has taken a liking to Keenan Allen. If I were a quarterback, I'd like Keenan Allen too. He catches everything thrown in his direction. Talking about developing a rapport, these guys look good together. If the Chargers are in this game and competitive and, like we talked about, have a chance to win it, I think it's because Keenan Allen has a big day.
And if the Chargers are losing, it's probably a lot of looks in Keenan Allen's direction. And we kind of talked about this on the members only. If I need 15 points, and that's all I care about, I'd play Justin Herbert over Keenan Allen. But if I'm looking for a 30 spot, I do think Keenan Allen has slightly higher potential upside with that target share in the PPR format than a Justin Herbert, for example. So I don't think it's major. And I also don't think his floor is significantly lower. But we kind of viewed this one the same way. And I'm not 100% sure if he makes my cash game lineup yet, but he's definitely on a short list. And if Lattimore is out, who is one of the better cover corners in the game, that's even better for Keenan Allen because it's just another very good defender they're not going to have out there, and it's going to weaken their secondary as a whole.
Certainly doesn't hurt him.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt him. There's no way it's going to hurt him. All right, last up, let's talk about Adam Troutman. So he let down a lot of the field last week. I don't think you or I played him, or at least not much, but looking at his ownership percentage last week, it was crazy to me, like how high it was. And so there's going to be some people who are going to be sour on him right now. Now, the other part of this equation is it's a guy I wanted to talk out because we just flat out don't know if Jared Cook is going to play tonight. He's still questionable the last time I checked. And I think if Cook is in, then Troutman becomes a little bit more of a GPP play. If Cook is out, then I think you got to get Troutman into your cash lineups. And the nice part about a guy like Troutman is he's basically free. And you can win with guys in your lineup that don't produce at low cost like this. Like last night, for example, Travis Homer was in my lineup. I wasn't in love with the pick, but I needed a really, really cheap guy. He got me 1.4 points last night, which is, obviously not much more than zero. Still cruised into 131st place out of 1149 by getting, the other guys that I wanted into my lineup. And that's kind of how I view Troutman this evening.
Yeah, so the other thing I'll say about this is he wasn't good last week. Obviously, he didn't do anything, but that doesn't mean he's not going to do anything this week, especially if Cook's out. We've seen Breeze make guys worse than Troutman look like stars. So anytime you get a tight end that could potentially be starting that has a guy like Breeze as his quarterback, you're interested. If Cook's in, I agree with you. I still could see Troutman having a role, and then it's much more of a tournament play because the zero is even more likely. But I'm with you. I think that if Cook's out, you lock him in cash games and GPPs if you want. If Cook's in, you play him in tournaments.
I mean, that's the way I view it. We kind of see this one eye to eye as well. He's only 1K. And I really want people to comprehend, like, nobody likes the idea of taking a zero, but how little that is of your salary cap. That is only 2% of your salary cap. And if somebody goes into a fight 98% versus 100%, it's a really minute difference.
Yeah, it's more for me, like, it's not even about the salary. It's a roster spot. That's the only reason, you're right. Like, as far as salary goes, like, it brings up, like an interesting question across DFS. Like, if you could roster a guy at, like, that you knew was going to get zero at, like, zero salary, would you do it? You know what I mean? There's, I think, rational cases to be made for both ways.
Absolutely. In these showdown formats specifically, if you want 5 guys at 10K and there was a 0K guy, in football, there is real lineup construction validity to playing something like that, because Drew Brees or Justin Herbert or Keenan Allen can easily outscore a 7K and a 3K guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to put together, agreed. So it's just one of those things. It's fun to talk about as far as DFS goes.
Now, the bonus comes if he can even just get you one catch for, say, 10 yards for 2 points. Again, like, I would have loved to have gotten more out of Homer last night than 1.4 points, but I played him because I needed Adam Thielen. I needed Dalvin Cook. I needed Russell Wilson. I needed Chris Carson and everything like that. And there just wasn't anything with the lineup construction outside of him. He was the best of a bad bunch. And even if Jared Cook plays tonight, Troutman still might be the best of a bad bunch.
Amen.
I mean, these dudes are priced in these price ranges for a reason.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget to click that thumbs up on the video, and we'll see y'all later.
Thanks, guys.